This gets to my ultimate point about what Aaron Rodgers could be, maybe, possibly is doing. Let's listen to the last clip for this segment where the possibility of retirement comes up. But I also think while talking about possibly retiring, he touches on why he's currently in a holding pattern as it relates to 2025. Have a listen.
The stuff I'm dealing with off the field, in my inner circle, that has to take my attention right now. And so I wasn't, stringing anybody along. I wasn't holding anybody hostage. I was honest from the jump about where I was at mentally, and some of the constraints that I have in my life right now that warrant my attention. So yeah, I'm open to anything and attached to nothing. So yeah, retirement still could be a possibility. But right now, my focus has been and will continue to be on my personal life.
And that's the overriding point, Michael Holley, that he made throughout the course of his 40 minutes with Pat McAfee. There is a circumstance in his personal life involving those within his inner circle that has required his attention and has prevented him from making the all-in commitment necessary to be part of a team, to be at the off-season workouts, to be truly on board for what's to come from September through January. And in theory, whatever this situation is, might still linger into the start of the season. That is a perfectly reasonable response. I did a quick video after he was finished yesterday, and I said, look, once somebody turns that card and says, I have personal issues that are preventing me from doing anything at this time, those of us who I think are decent people will respect that without question, without scrutiny, without cynicism, without skepticism, without any ism. You play that card. That's why it's a powerful card and possibly could be misused by some. But again, I'm not saying he is. I'm saying you play that card and everybody stops. It's like pulling the cord on the ride to stop it. We're stopping it. Stop. We just stop. That's fine. We'll give you your space. We'll respect your position, and we'll assume that what you're telling us is 100% accurate and truthful. Why didn't he do that in February? What? That would have and he went out of his way to say, people say I want attention. There's different ways to get attention. There's the obvious, hey, everybody look at me way. And then there's the more subtle way, like the candid, engineered photographs walking around the beach draped in velvet, where you can say, I wasn't trying to get attention, but you get attention. And I almost feel like, Michael, with this, he deliberately kept quiet just to see what we would do, just to see how it would go. Because he's smart enough to know, I think, there's still a chance he's basically Otto from A Fish Called Wanda, but he's smart enough to know what happens if he supplies nothing to the conversation. We're going to talk about him. And then he reserves the right to swoop in after the fact and complain that we talked about him and tried to help people understand what's going on, because he could have short-circuited the whole thing by saying in February what he said on April 17th.
Well, in his defense, so I'm gonna defend him on one point and then not necessarily criticize him, but just make a point that should be obvious to all of us. So maybe the situation, that whatever the personal thing is, maybe it wasn't happening in February. Maybe he became aware of it, or it intensified, whatever it is, in mid-March or at the beginning of this month. I don't know. So he could say, well, it wasn't happening in February, or I wasn't aware of it. It has progressed to this point. That's one. Okay, so I understand that. But here's the other thing. You said most people back off and say, okay, that's it. I'm a decent person. I understand you've got something personal happening in your life, and I'm not going to push. Yes, you're right. You're not supposed to push. But I think those of us who have gone through, we all have, those of us who have gone through something understand, yes, we're going through it, but the world doesn't stop as we're going through it. And so we have jobs, we have responsibilities. Things happen even when you're going through something. And I know that maybe the first time it happens, people are stunned that, well, wait a minute. Life hasn't slowed down. You're still going to do that thing even though I'm going through this. And the answer is yes. The NFL calendar continues to move forward. A draft will happen. You can still sign players. So I will respect whatever personal issue it is, but that doesn't mean that the Steelers or Giants or Vikings will pause as Aaron Rodgers pauses and deals with whatever is happening in his life.
And I think that's a fair point. It's possible that in February, the personal issue hadn't blossomed to the point where it was going to slow down his process of screening and selecting a team. But it has been 4 weeks since he visited the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the talk has been rampant ever since then. And it's not just from guys like us, Michael. Cam Hayward's the one who came out and said you either want to be a Steeler or you don't. So there was this sense among the fans and among the organization, what's going on here? We want you. Why won't you say whether or not you want us? And so at some point in the past month, if it didn't exist in February, it happened. And it's supplied the reason for Aaron Rodgers to not make a commitment or make a decision. My point is, whenever it popped up for the first time, that's when, if he truly wanted to avoid having a bunch of people spreading bullshit about me that he likes to complain about after the fact, if he truly wanted to avoid that, then there would have been no harm. He has an open pipeline to a friendly platform with Pat McAfee. They're never going to push back on him. And I don't say that as a criticism because otherwise we don't get a window into Aaron Rodgers. He needs that. He needs a friendly environment where he can say whatever he wants without any tough questions. And he's never going to get any tough questions from Pat McAfee and A.J. Hawk. Otherwise, he wouldn't talk there. So I'm glad they do it because then the rest of us can scrutinize what he says in an atmosphere where he doesn't have to worry about the people he's talking to pushing back. So just go ahead and let him say whatever he's going to say, and then others can come in and make sense of it. I'm glad that they do that because then we will come in with a mop and a bucket and clean it up and try to make sense of it and criticize where criticism is warranted. I just think that what he said yesterday could have been said at some point before yesterday and taken a lot of the steam out of the whole what the hell is Aaron Rodgers going to do in 2025? And why does it look like he's holding team hostage? Why does it look like he's being indecisive? Why does it look like he's waiting for the Vikings to realize J.J. McCarthy's not the answer and that he is? Because those are all reasonable conclusions that we reached via the fact that he delayed, period. And I'd love to know what the catalyst for yesterday was, Michael. He said his sister told him, you really probably should say something. I think the time for saying something was a while ago. Like the Aaron Rodgers pot was off boil. It was back down to slow simmer. No one was really paying attention. I'd love to know what prompted it to happen yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good question. And you mentioned Cam Hayward. I think he may have walked it back or toned it down, but I'm on team. I wish he hadn't. I'm on Team Hayward when it comes to this because Mike, wasn't it like weeks before he was traded to the Jets from the Packers? Wasn't it weeks before that when he may have been Pat McAfee or somewhere else where he went out and said, my intention is to play for the Jets? He said that before he was a Jet. And so I know, Jets fans got very excited. Aaron Rodgers said he wants to play for us, and it took maybe I'm not remembering it clearly, but I thought it took another 2 to 3 weeks before the trade actually happened. So he could do that now if he wanted to. Hey, I want to play for the Steelers. I love Mike Tomlin, love Arthur Smith. I'm going to play for the Steelers. I just want to let you know that I've got some personal things going on right now, but I look forward to being in training camp.
And that's an excellent point because you're right. It was some period of time before the trade was actually done that he said, my intention is to play for the Jets. They still had to work out a trade. The Packers were clearly going to move on from him, but there was no clear guarantee that the Jets were going to give the Packers whatever they wanted. It could have gotten bogged down. It could have gotten delayed. But he said, this is what I want to do. Now you've got a team where the door is open. And this is why Steelers fans, I think, have been disappointed in their favorite team in recent weeks. It's unbecoming to the Steelers' brand and legacy and achievements to create the appearance that we are begging anyone to come play for us, that we are desperate to get anyone to come join us, much less a reject from the New York Jets, for crying out loud. And that's not me. That's the mindset that some Steelers fans have. So it just took him too long to speak and too long to inform and supplant the rumor, innuendo, and speculation that was out there, because no one had said, no one had reported there's a personal issue. Someone in the inner circle of Aaron Rodgers needs his time and attention. And like that would have immediately been the kill switch on any and all potential criticism of Aaron Rodgers being a delicate genius and stringing people along and playing this game of bird in the hand and waiting. Maybe somebody's going to tear an ACL with the Super Bowl contender and I go play for them. Or maybe the Vikings are going to decide J.J. McCarthy's not it and they're going to come get me and it's going to be Brett Favre all over again in 2009. But all you got to say, you say it directly or you authorize your agent to call Rappaport and Schefter at the same time, because then we know where it's coming from. When they both tweet it within a minute of each other, the agent put the word out there that Aaron Rodgers needs to take time to make a decision because there's an issue in his personal life that requires his time and attention. That's all that had to be done. And I really do feel like, Michael, and the typical hog for attention will say, hey, everybody look at me, pause, what the hell are you looking at? What Rodgers does is he says and does nothing deliberately, so we will look at him and wonder what he's doing, and then swoop in later and say, what the hell was everybody looking at? Why is everybody curious about me? Why is everybody talking about me? Because you're not saying anything about yourself, and we kind of want to know what you're going to do. And it's not unreasonable, especially if you're going to take 6 hours out of a Friday and go visit with the Steelers on the first day of the NCAA tournament, for crying out loud, when I'm sure those guys would have preferred to be watching basketball. When you're going to take that kind of time and make Pittsburgh stop on a dime, people are going to wonder what's going on. So the whole thing is just freaking weird.
Well, Mike, it's been a long time since I went to a club, like a nightclub, many years. But you think about those club situations where you have a line. You have a line outside the club, and there are a couple of bouncers there. And no, not time to go in yet, And you actually get inside, the club is kind of empty. So why do they have the line outside? To draw attention to the club. And Aaron, it's not the worst thing in the world. I actually appreciate it. He likes attention. That's why he did it. He loves the attention. He doesn't want to like the attention. He doesn't want anybody to say it. Oh, he's just looking for attention. But of course, he likes it. And that's not the worst thing. It's entertaining. We got a show to do. He's a content generator, and we appreciate it. But he should just be honest with himself. He likes the attention. That's why he waited.
And he likes it in one specific way. It's not the usual open and obvious and blatant, look at me, everybody. It is more subtle. It is more calculated. It is more strategic. And it was comical to hear both he and McAfee downplay, oh, but you're an attention. There's a specific art to it that Rodgers seems to be trying to implement. And it is subtle. And it is deliberate silence, knowing, or at least should know, what the silence is going to cause, and then complaining after the fact about the commentary that was supplied in the absence of any information from Aaron Rodgers that could have been easily, quickly, and directly given at any time. And I wonder what Steelers fans are thinking now. I think I need to do a new Twitter poll for Steelers fans and only Steelers fans. And it's going to be worded something like this. After hearing Aaron Rodgers on Thursday, do you want him on your team, yes or no? Period. Let's see. The last time we did the poll, it was, I think, 55-45 no. I wonder what it'll be now that he's spoken.
Well, when did you do the poll?
Fans,
Did you do the poll before? Was it pre or post Mason Rudolph?
Well, I think I did it before he visited. I need to find the poll because I'm sure I posted something about it at PFT. I'll find out when I did the poll. But I think that there are going to be Steelers fans who heard him yesterday and say, run. We don't want this guy to be our quarterback. We don't want the Aaron Rodgers experience for 2020 When we take a break, one team.
And Mike, I just said really quickly here, as an amateur Aaron Rodgers historian, I will point out that he does some of his best PR work and best mystery work before the draft. Remember, he tried to, the first time we thought he was going to the Broncos, and the whole Adam Schefter thing, hey, lose my number, hey, Schefter, what is it? He tried to get himself out of Green Bay before the draft. He wanted to go to the Broncos. Right, it's a week before the draft. He's coming out. He's speaking now. This is a time where the hibernation tends to end right around draft time. So just keep that in mind.
Well, and it's an excellent point. I wrote something yesterday morning. Even though there hasn't been an Aaron Rodgers development, it was a week to the draft. And right out of the gates, I mentioned it 4 years ago. He big-footed the draft. The day of the draft, the rumors came out that he wanted to be traded to the 49ers. And throughout round one, we're thinking, hey, is he going to be dropped to the Broncos here during the draft? And yes, the day of the draft, it was good for my business. The numbers went through the roof because everybody wanted to see what was going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, so I'm not complaining. But you're right. Look, he could have spoken at any time. And here it is. Not the Monday of draft week, because that would have been a little too conspicuous. We can't get too close to the draft, because if we get too close to the draft, it's going to be too obvious what I'm doing here. I'm going to pick a spot. How about 1 week? How about Thursday? Yeah, let's do it that day. Let's remind everyone that I'm here, and let's accidentally step into the spotlight and then complain that the spotlight has been placed upon me. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.